So we now turn back to the latest news from the Vatican. Pope Francis remains in critical condition at a hospital in Rome this morning, battling double pneumonia and experiencing the early stages of kidney failure. The 88-year-old pontiff has been hospitalized for 10 days now. The Vatican says the Pope was able to rest and had a good night yesterday. For more on Pope Francis's condition, let's welcome in the director of ProLifeCentral.org, Father Frank Pavone. Good morning. It's great to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. So let's start with just your initial reaction to what we're hearing coming out of Rome and the Vatican about the Pope's health.
Well, of course, it's always sad, especially, as Catholics, we rally around the Pope as a center of unity. And so our heartfelt prayers, fraternal concern and love go out to him, with prayers for his recovery and gratitude for all that he's done during his life serving the church.
So what struck me was this morning was the first time in recent days the Vatican didn't say the Pope ate breakfast, he's up, they said he's resting. They really aren't known for transparency, so should we read into that?
Yeah, I worked at the Vatican for a little while, and it has its own language. It really does. It has its own way of communicating. And you're right. Very often it is much less transparent, certainly than we're used to in our communications here in the States. So, not necessarily reading into it, but I would think that it's certainly reasonable to expect further updates that, might not be getting to us in real time.
So, and we all wish the pontiff a speedy recovery, a quick recovery. Pope Benedict XVI was the first pope in centuries to actually resign or kind of go into retirement because of his health. Would you see any situation like that with Pope Francis?
Oh, very much so. I think he's very open to doing that himself. In fact, my understanding, and I don't have any inside information on this, but I believe that he wrote a letter already that the Vatican officials have indicating that should he be incapable of making decisions or carrying out his duties, that effectively it was a letter of resignation that would go into effect at the proper time. Mark, this is a funny thing about the Catholic Church, the way it's structured. We don't have provision in church law for a situation where a pope is incapacitated and cannot speak for himself. And because if that happens, all the acts of governance are frozen. Who's the bishop of this diocese? Who's the head of this Vatican agency? Everything gets frozen in time if the Pope is unable to consciously, freely act. So that's an important question that you're raising, and I'm sure the folks at the Vatican are trying to figure that out right now. And another thing, though, of course, I have to express, too, the deep concern that so many within the Catholic community and outside the Catholic community have had about Pope Francis. In many ways, this has been a pontificate of confusion. The role of the Pope is supposed to be to clarify the faith, to strengthen, as Jesus said to Peter, strengthen your brothers and sisters. We are supposed to come away knowing the faith more clearly. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, not to judge his motives, but to look at the fruits of it, it's caused a lot of confusion. We've got to get back, hopefully, to more clarity and forceful teaching coming from the Vicar of Christ.